Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. Hello everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for The Last Ship Season 2, Episodes 9 and 10, Uneasy Lies the Head, and Friendly Fire. I am your host, Cleo, and welcome to the One Woman Podcast. And I'm finding that I can't speak today. Awesome. Surprise, I'm back in my old recording, place, room, my room. Because we're gearing up for ASO TV Podcast Season 3. We've been referring to our years as seasons since we started September. Wow, was it 2013? Must have been, since this is year 3. Since we started then, that's the start of our season. But yes, coming at you with another double episode, which is good because I couldn't handle the just cliffhanger of oh look Niels is dead and Rachel killed him, so that was did I say spoilers? We preface everything with spoilers because everything we talk about is spoilerific. But yeah, gee, that episode 9 was a doozy. But I'm gonna save the Rachel stuff for the end. Middle, I should say, because then I have to talk about episode 10. Excuse me. So the group of kids, like the militia group of kids with their bows and arrows and what looks like airsoft guns. I'm sure they had real guns. I'm absolutely sure of that. But, a couple of them had composite bows. A couple of them, they may not have been real guns. Like, I honestly don't know. But, they were pretty cool. I really liked them. Just, I think, and I keep forgetting what codename they used for their tactical team, but it's always Tex and Burke and Ravit and Wolf. It's always them, and it's like, what are they? I think they might change up the name every mission they run, but I don't know. I guess I'll just call them the tactical team. Tactical team rolls up, and they're just like, you're gonna want to put the gun down, son. Oh, God. Yeah, teenagers. I forgot what age. I think they were 14, 16 age. But Ray, their leader / comic book artist / Tiny Fonzie. He looks like a Tiny the Fonz. Like, there's a picture on IMDb of his hair slicked back. It's like, you look like the Fonz. It's hilarious. He is really cool, and his art is really cool, and I honestly want his comic book. I want that. Like, someone should publish that. I want it. If you know of someone who, I don't know, I guess has a copy of that and sells it, I want it. Let me know. But yeah, the group of kids were really cool, and Ray was he was adorable. He was trying so hard to be like the tough leader that he thinks would, not necessarily intimidate Chandler, but stand up to Chandler. And Chandler's just like, I know you're a good leader. You don't have to pretend to be a tough guy just to impress me. Although he was pretty tough. I liked the whole exchange of coin. I knew that was a thing, but I guess I had never heard it explained like that, where like you could just go into a Navy bar and have to give the coin and get a free drink. It's like, that's pretty cool. A little weird. Me, personally, being a collector of things, especially small objects like coins, I I would not want to, I would rather pay for the drink than give up a coin given to me by somebody I respect, you know? Which is really funny that I had that thought, because I was just like, I would not give that coin away for a free drink. Are you kidding me? I will pay for the drink. But they were able to come up with a plan with these kids to lure the immunes in and capture some of them, figure out what was going on, how their operation was being run, and it worked. I couldn't tell if Ray wanted to fight or if he just really wanted to help. Like, I think he really wanted to help. And I think he would have sat in the trailer if he hadn't heard that the other kid came along too. It's like, as soon as he heard that the other kid was there, he was like, oh, nope, gotta find him, gotta protect him. What did he have? He had like some... Oh, he had a harpoon gun! Oh, that was funny. He had a harpoon gun. Shot a dude in the back with it, which was pretty baller. But it was too late. And honestly, I saw that coming. I thought actually the two kids were gonna go and end up dying. Because two of them came up to Tex and was like, we want to help! And Tex was like, nah. Which I think Tex handled that really poorly. And I think it's just because he's used to dealing with adults. And when a kid wants to do something that they know you're going to say no to, just laughing at them is probably going to make them want to do it more. But he just laughed at them, and I was like, ooh, that's not the right thing to do. And I thought both of them were going to be there. And both of them were going to die. I knew Ray was going to live because he was... he seems like he will be, like, very much like Patrice, a part of their operation on the ship in the future. Whether or not he joins the Navy, probably not, but he's there. I bet they're going to stay on the ship. They were supposed to just take them to New Orleans, because that was their next stop, and there was a refugee camp? What do they call it? Not a refugee camp, but like a community of survivors. But, Jesus, who knows what's fucking gonna happen now. Let's finish up this episode before I start talking about episode 10. Yeah, Ravit, they were sitting around, I think they were sitting around the mess hall talking about, you know, stories and bullshit. And, that was not my phone. And, Ravit's just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it, shut your face, war is war, who cares, everyone's seen something, it doesn't matter. Which is a perfectly legitimate response to not wanting to talk about seeing death and killing people and war and things. But cinematically, the way they set it up, I thought it was going to be like this thing with, there was a kid that died, and, like, she didn't want to see it happen again. Which, obviously, she knew, she didn't want to get the kids involved because of that reason. It's like, well, they're already involved. Which is basically what Chandler told her. And, which is true, they are. But, you're also now using them as a, bait. You're using them as bait. So, but I thought what it was going to be like, she couldn't save the kid, and I'm glad they didn't do that, because it's a convention and a trope, not a trope, what's the word I'm using? Cliche. It's a cliche. So I'm glad they didn't do it, but I expected her to be there when the kid died, and there to be, like, her finally tell the story about, but there wasn't a story, it wasn't a thing, it was just a general, she was tired of murder and war, but it has to be done, and she knows it has to be done. I'll talk a little bit about how I feel about her in episode 10, because I liked her a lot, and in episode 9, real cool, but, stuff happens, and I'm not on board anymore. But anyway, she's hot and she's cold. She's numb. Stop. Terrible references aside, Yeah, their crazy fucking plan worked. They captured 3 or 4 dudes, I think it was 3 dudes, and got the phones. Or they got phones that they were holding or whatever. And a kid died. Oopsies. But they have all the other ones on the all the other kids on the ship, and everybody's okay. And yes, that's Tactical Team Adventures for episode 9. Rachel and Niels. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's like all I have to, that took up 1 line. Then I have a larger paragraph about what I'm going to say. And then I have 1 sentence spaced out, and then 1 sentence, she just murdered him, and then another space, yep, ... That's the end of my notes for episode 9. It's like, ... I got nothing else. Okay, listen. Rachel was clearly, you could tell, she was mentally struggling with something all episode, and she made it seem, and she was doing this on purpose, I know. She made it seem that she was struggling with loneliness and how no one understood her, which, by the end, you kind of see that she played him, and that might have not been what she was really struggling with. She was probably really struggling with, should I kill him? 'Cause I can. I fucking can. And I can save the world in the process. But I feel like she's also really struggling with the loneliness. Because of, her, I think he was a reporter, and a journalist or something, her boyfriend or fiance, I forget what exactly he was to her. But the man that's in the picture that she has on her desk, because Niels mentions it, and she immediately, like, flips the picture down and kind of brushes it away. Partly probably to the beginning of her fucking with him, but I think she is really struggling with that. Because while now she does have the doctor who's helping her out, he still doesn't really know how she feels. They don't really seem to have a friendship relationship. And just, last season it was Chandler and a little bit of Tex who were like, yeah, you know, we sort of get where each other's coming from, and they were buddy friends and stuff. But this season, because of a lot of things that have been happening, there's been very little contact between the two of them, and what has been weird. So they've, for a lot of different reasons, obvious and not obvious, they've just kind of fallen apart, friendship-wise. They haven't talked. Like, they had discussions in, like, the first one. There was a lot of just them talking and working on stuff, and it just hasn't happened this season. And, I think a lot of it was, she was playing him. She was struggling with whether or not she should murder him, because it was murder. But I think she's lonely, and there isn't really anyone who can understand her. It's just, that's how I see it. She played him like a fiddle, though, right in her fucking hand. Like, it's like, how dumb are you? Dude. And I don't know what he expected to get out of this. You know, I don't know what he wanted. He obviously wanted to learn as much as he could about her research. Yes. Is the science all he cares about? Cared about? I don't know. I still, like, I have to go back to season 1 and watch the episode with all of his flashbacks, because I don't fucking know. He to the death. Still a mystery to me. But she straight murdered him. And she does not regret it, nor should she. And that's the end of episode 9. On to episode 10, I think it's referred to as Rachel refers to it as a witch hunt, the whole investigation and the murder. And I feel like someone else said it too, or maybe Rachel just said it twice. Oh, excuse me, Cassie. What? I'm a professional, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What was I saying? I was saying something about the investigation. Oh yeah, Rachel referred to it as a witch hunt, probably more than once. And I honestly don't know how I feel about the whole thing. They had to perform an investigation. That I know. It had to happen. That's the rule. The rules. It's how things go. And I liked seeing a little bit more into the traditions on the ship. And I'm sure that's a real Navy thing. I don't know. Should ask my uncle. But cousin, second cousin, something. Anyway. But the whole chiming at noon and syncing the clocks and asking the captain for permission, all of that, what was I saying? Seeing the inner workings of the ship a little more. Like, little stuff. Like that we didn't need to know that they chime for noon. But seeing that adds a little more to the layers of this is how the ship runs. It's part of protocol. It's part of what makes this ship run. And what, in the end, is going to... Because always when you watch post-apocalyptic stuff, there's a search... There's the struggle between order and chaos. And obviously, when you have a structure, it's easier to survive. And they're definitely setting the Navy's structure up against the Ramses structure. And the Ramses structure definitely has a bit more of that chaotic vibe to it. And the Navy structure is very obviously lawful. Follow fucking laws, lawful good, all that stuff. And totally that reinforces that we have to do this investigation. There's been a death on the ship. We have to know all the things. So they learned all the things, unfortunately. Darn. And it's kind of... And I understand why Chandler locked her up. But it's just like... Oh, come on! She killed the reason. She took care of the reason that the world is the way it is. She took care of him. Like, he's not gonna continue to fuck the world up. I am convinced, though, that the Ramses have an alternate strain that Niels made. I'm convinced. But Chandler, while I'm so glad Niels is dead and that Rachel has done what she did it on her own. It's a vigilantism in an ordered society. Chandler's a little bit right, where they could have used Niels to get to the people to expose the lies and stuff, but I still don't think that would have worked. What I think they needed Niels for was whatever Ramses got up his sleeve. For, like, the reason... Because I'm sure Niels knows the reason. I'm sure Neil knew. I'm sorry. Knew. He did. That's all she wrote for him. See, I literally wrote about the investigation. All I wrote was, I honestly don't know how I feel. Honestly don't know how I feel. But I am probably more like Slattery. where he's like, hey, he's dead, it's a good thing, who cares? And Garnet's like, but we need to run an investigation. And Slattery's just like, oh, fine. That would totally be me. I'm like, he's dead, that's great. Crap. Do I have to? I mean... And I think that's something that everyone on the ship sort of feels as well, where it's like, oh, this bad dude is dead. When they find out that it's Rachel, I'm not sure they're gonna be... I'm sure they're gonna fall in line, because obviously that's the decision. This is a lawful ship. You know, it's run by law and order. They're gonna fall in line because that's part of the thing. But I don't... especially people like Tex, people like Patrice, I think they're gonna be like, why is she locked up, dude? Come on! She did a public service! So I think there are definitely gonna be some people who are like, I mean, I get it, but come on! And I'm not sure if it's gonna... I talked about this a while ago. I'm not sure if it's gonna impact Chandler's command, like how dedicated everyone is to him. I don't think it will, or if it does, it's gonna be not as bad as I originally thought. Because I originally was like, they're gonna start doubting him and stuff. I don't think it's going that way anymore, because he seems to have leveled off, especially after the death of the kid. He seemed to... I think he's going to be... Well, I feel like he needs to take those kinds of crazy risks that have worked, but I feel like those crazy risks are only going to go so far. And if it gets them through this season, next season, the crazy risks are not going to work. Like, there's going to have to be a line where it's like, oh, dude, can't take those risks no more. Crazy stuff, though. Crazy stuff. I am not liking Ravit now in this episode 10. Because she tried to jump Burke's bones, and then when he was like, no, she's like, well, fuck you. It's like, what? Could you just, like, not? And that's another, parallel between Order and, I mean, a different kind of chaos. She's more of a spontaneous chaos. And it's like, Burke's like, I saw my friends get in, like, super trouble over this. We can't, no. And she's just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna continue being a bitch. And I hate the hot and coldness of Ravit. I think that she's just pissing me off. I think the two of them are adorable together if she would just stop being such a fucking bitch. That's all I really have to say. Like, I really liked Ravit. Even when she did the kiss to break the nose, even when, like, I don't know, whatever weird flirty stuff she's done. That scene, I was just like, nah, girl. Back up. Nah. Moving on. With all of the investigation stuff, I did not expect action. And then, holy shit, there was a torpedo and a lot of explosions. And I was like, where did this come from? I expected this to be like a lull episode. It was not. There was action. I was like, whoa. And it happened like 2/3 through the episode. Because there's a point in an episode where I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be like this for the rest of the episode. It's like, oh no, there's now action. Which was totally cool. I enjoyed that. And just, holy shit, torpedo. They got fucking hit. There's so much about the end of episode 10 that's just like, oh my god, I want to rip my face off. I really thought the phone thing was interesting. But it was like, okay, here's the thing about this app. A lot of things the Ramseys do don't make 100% sense to me. Like, I remember saying I was confused about something the Ramseys did, like, a couple episodes ago. But now I was confused again, because I was like, wait, this is a Hangman game? But it's coded? But it's text messages? I did not understand at all how that worked. But there was a point where I was trying to figure it out, and I was just like, I can't. I'm just gonna roll with it. Let's just go. I'm with you guys. Just on this roller coaster. But I was gonna say something about that dude. Nah, can't remember. Anyway, he snitched. He was the weak one. Slattery Slattery was like Chandler. I think it might have been Chandler. No, Slattery. I think Slattery knew it. He walked in, he was like, "You're the weak one. I'm gonna break you. Separate them." It's like, yes, Slattery. That's why you're one of my favorites. So funny. And in these last couple episodes, more than the first 3 episodes, Slattery's been getting less screen time, but every time he's on screen, he's just like, "Don't fucking mess with me." Jesus, though. That fucking battle. It's just like, torpedoes! Battle set. It was like, oh my god, what's happening? The fucking Ramses blew up the survivors to make it look like the Nathan James did it. I knew the propaganda was going to escalate because the president said that's the first step. The radio broadcast was the first step. But I did not think it was going to escalate this quickly. It escalated real quick. Just like from radio broadcast to cutting together the image to make it look like the fucking Navy blew up survivors. It's like, you're up in your game pretty quick, but I guess they have to since the Navy's literally on their tail. And I assume they haven't fixed the hull or the soundproofing or whatever was actually wrong with the ship because they blew up the fleet in order to mask themselves so that the Nathan James couldn't see them on sonar. So I'm assuming the ship is still broken. Fucking got away, man. Or I think that they're sitting under the boat still and the Nathan James fled. Either way, they can't set foot on land, I don't think, anywhere. They are so fucked because everyone's gonna see that video. And I'm wondering who's behind the communications, because the way they talked about who orchestrated that seems like it's going to be an important person, someone we haven't seen yet, someone part of the Ramsey organization. And I'm wondering if it's someone we know, or someone who's related to someone on the ship. So it's going to be very interesting to see who that is. And with that, next episode of The Last Ship. Oh my god, okay, I thought my thing wasn't going to load. Next episode, Valkyrie. Sean Ramsey broadcasts a message implicating the Navy in a devastating disaster. I just said that. It's now more important than ever for Chandler to infiltrate their network and regain the trust of the American people. Nathan James locates the source of the immune signal, a mysterious platform in the middle of the ocean. Once there, Chandler and his team engage in a brutal battle, oh no, with civilian forces who have aligned themselves with Ramsey's plan. So we think the question is going to be, obviously there are a lot of questions, but I think a big question is going to be, what will Ramsey do with the non-immunes that he's allied himself with? Because obviously all of the civilians can't all be immune. I mean, I guess they could be statistically, maybe, but is he just going to start killing off non-immunes? I don't know. But if they have a breathable, because, oh, right, I didn't even say Rachel just fucking injects her. She goes to her lab and I'm like, okay, she's gonna do another test. And then she just sticks herself with a syringe. I was like, oh, no more tests. No more tests, we're going, fuck it, we'll do it live. But yeah, now there is a breathable cure. Which I'm afraid, because when Rachel injected herself, she got sweaty. She had trouble breathing. Like, you saw she was her chest, her face. She was sweaty. When she was talking to Tex, and when she had the confrontation with Chandler, the way she spoke changed because it seemed like she needed to take more breaths. And I'm afraid that this new cure might not be perfect because she didn't have the time to do a test. I don't know. I'm a little afraid. So it might be best that she's not breathing on everybody right now. But it was interesting that they revealed that she could have gotten what she needed without killing Niels. I mean, that changes it a little bit. But I still don't know. I don't know! It's Crazy Pants! Crazy Pants, awesome sauce. This show is insane. So that's it for this week. I'm Cleo, and you can find me at Cleomoto on the socials, and on Twitch at the Cleomoto. I know I've said this all fucking summer, but I'm gonna start streaming. One of these weeks, it's not gonna be a lie. So follow me on twitch.tv/thecleomoto. And I'll be there eventually. And you can find all of us on ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and MySpace, and right here on YouTube. Follow it. We don't update our MySpace. I don't know why we say it. Mostly because it's funny. And right here on YouTube, follow us for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. This week we are starting Fear the Walking Dead. Next week we are starting Vixen. The week after that we're starting more things, all the things in September. Craziness. So be sure to be there for the crazy ride. And I'll see you pretty soon. Bye-bye.